Hi, I'm Iris Ray Martinez, your clerk of the Circuit Court. My team and I are dedicated to providing the citizens of Cook County and the participants in the judicial system with efficient and transparent services. This program is an extension of our commitment to providing information services that empower you to make the best decisions possible. I hope you find this episode helpful. Thank you for your time.
Municipal Bureau and your host for this edition of Clerk in the Community. Welcome. The Civil Division includes various legal matters for claims under $1,000. This week we will discuss small claims, consumer debt, and the early resolution program for consumer debt. Generally, small claims are general torts like personal injury, contract or business disputes, and property damage cases for $10,000 or less. Consumer debt are cases involving debt incurred by a private individual for private use. Common example, and perhaps the largest portion of cases in the Civil Division, other than eviction cases, are credit card default cases. And just like evictions, because of the large volume of cases, our office works with the Early Resolution Program to assist parties in mediating consumer debt claims. Joining us today to learn more about small claims and consumer debt cases are Aimie Rucinski, Chief Deputy Clerk of the Civil Division, Kathleen Callahan, Supervising Attorney with Carpels, and Ernie Gordon, Staff Attorney with Legal Aid Chicago. Before we begin, I'd just like to state, again, remember, the Office of the Circuit Court of Cook County is the keeper of the records. The office provides information, but not services. So let's start with Aimie Rucinski, Chief Deputy Clerk of Civil Division. And if you could just give a brief description about small claims in the Civil Division.
Sure. So small claims cases are any civil case where the amount of damages being sought is $10,000 or less. As you mentioned, it does apply to most case types in the Civil Division. However, it does not apply to evictions and housing cases.
Okay. Are small claims cases processed differently than other cases filed in the Civil Division?
So no, they're actually processed the same. So to give you a brief history on small claims, so many years ago, prior to COVID, there was a pro se help desk that was located in 602 of the Daly Center, and it was operated by the Chief Judge's Office. That help desk assisted pro se litigants in filing small claims cases. And that help desk was exclusive to District 1, and they did not have a presence in the suburban districts. The case type for these types of cases was called a pro se complaint. So once a pro se complaint was filed with our office, it was then automatically assigned to courtroom 1308. And the call times for that courtroom was 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. There was also a further requirement that both parties had to be pro se, so neither party could have an attorney. However, once the pandemic hit, that help desk dissolved, and I have not heard any mention of it coming back, at least not at this point. Now today, small claims cases that are filed are treated exactly the same as any other case filed in the Civil Division. So they are not assigned to 1308 anymore. They're assigned to all of our courtrooms, and there's no requirement that both parties had to be pro se. So either one or both parties could be represented by an attorney. So really the only reason we still have small claims case types is for statistical purposes. So we have to report to the state the number of small claim cases that are filed with our office. But other than that, they're treated the same as every other case.
Okay.
And one other thing I wanted to mention, certified mail is used quite frequently in small claims cases. So the two-pronged test for certified mail is the defendant has to live in the state of Illinois, and as well as the amount of damages is $10,000 or less. So if those two prongs are met, the plaintiff can use certified mail to serve the defendant.
So you're talking about serving the defendant.
Yes.
Can be used certified mail.
Yes. Which is fast and easy. And cheap. So
it's starting a case just like everything else, e-filed, or they can come to our offices and file the case there, but e-filed preferably is e-filed.
Yes.
And then parties show up. Now, since we've been back from COVID, have you noticed an uptake in attorneys representing parties in small claims, or is it still pretty much pro se?
No, it is. There's definitely attorneys representing parties in small claims cases now. Yeah, they do not have that requirement that they have to be pro se.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I couldn't give you an exact number, but yes, no, there are definitely attorneys in small claims cases now.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so small claims, since it's just like every other case type, how it's being handled, it's handled probably the same way, except they probably don't have this program that we're going to talk about in a little bit, early resolution program. But so the other types of cases, consumer debt. And we have Ernie Gordon here again with Legal Aid Chicago. Ernie, if you could, can you just explain what consumer debt cases are?
Absolutely. You mentioned it up top, but consumer debt cases are cases where a creditor goes after a consumer or an individual for debts that they incurred for an individual purpose, something like a credit card or a personal loan or even an auto loan. And it's typically because there is some issue with the payment on that.
And that also includes, and just by chance, I've discovered this, student loans as well, correct?
Yes, it does.
Although I don't think there's a high number of student, compared to the other case types, is there a high number of student, or no?
No, you were. I was agreeing with you.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. But I did see that. Again, we're talking about less than $30,000. On the credit card stuff, on the credit card cases, are we talking that the whole debt has to be $30,000, or just it could be this specific credit card comes in and says defendant X owes $30,000, or let's just keep it easy so we don't screw $20,000, and then another creditor comes in, that person owes me $20,000. Does that still stay in the civil division even though the defendant has two separate cases?
It does.
Okay.
And that could even be, two of the same credit card company with two different credit cards. Those would both be individual cases, and as long as each of them were under $30,000, they would stay in small claims.
All right. And I know, other than evictions, it's probably the heaviest in District 1, countywide, and although this is CAN-TV Chicago, we generally talk about Cook County as well. So for the districts, is a high number of consumer debt cases there as well, or in those districts?
Yeah, absolutely. We work in all the districts. ERP is available in all of the district courthouses.
And so ERP, Early Resolution Program, before we talked about it with Bob Glaves, as it applies to evictions, if you can just explain how it applies for consumer debt cases.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's similar in that it does what the name suggests, where it gives the parties an opportunity to get in early in the lifespan of a case and try and resolve that. So typically what will happen is someone will be served with summons. Those summons will have a flyer attached to them with the hotline number for the early resolution program. So that's the first opportunity that somebody has to reach out to us. And then when you appear at your initial case management hearing, the court will actually refer the defendant to the early resolution program to make sure that they can get some advice, some resources, things like that. After that, it's coming back to the court, meeting on status dates to keep the judge updated, let the court know what's being done to try and resolve it. If there are efforts being made to resolve it outside of the court, then it'll usually be continued to allow the parties more time to try and resolve it. But if not, then it'll be kicked out to another small claims courtroom to move forward appropriately. And actually, even if a settlement is reached, then it will still get kicked out to another small claims courtroom so that that order can be entered, the order reflecting the settlement agreement.
Oh, okay. And then the benefits of ERP, Early Resolution Program. We also have here Kathleen Callahan with Carpals. If you can explain some, the benefits of the ERP program.
I think the most significant benefit to the early resolution program, among many of the benefits here, in a small claims case, is that self-represented litigants have access to crucial legal advice at a crucial point in the case, before they appear, before an order may be entered against them, before perhaps they enter into an agreement that may not serve their best interests.
Oh, okay. And any other benefits? Like, would you add anything to?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you just mentioned, the kind of effective right to counsel is something that's very exciting to me personally. I think that that's a huge benefit to be able to give advice. But another benefit is, like I was talking about with the continuing status dates, to give parties time to try and work out a settlement or otherwise resolve it. It gives people a lot more time to kind of get their bearings. Usually when people are sued, it's not something that they're expecting. It's not something that they are well versed in handling. So it takes a minute to get your bearings underneath you and figure out what's happening in the case. This does give people a lot more time to do that.
Okay.
Right. And these cases used to move very quickly before we had this early resolution program, this diversion program to kind of slow down the case to allow people the opportunity to try to reach an amicable settlement. Cases went very quickly on the trial call. So there wasn't this opportunity to consult with a legal aid lawyer to discuss the possibilities and where they stand.
Okay, and so if you could, Kathleen, Carpals, what does Carpals do? What is that organization, and where are they located?
So Carpals is Cook County's largest provider of legal aid services. We have been around since 1993. We've served nearly 1 million low and moderate income residents in Cook County.
And what does Carpals stand for? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a terrible acronym, isn't it? It's, but 30 years later,
Right.
it's too late to do anything
Right.
about it.
Right.
It stands for Coordinated Advice and Referral Program to Legal Services.
Okay.
So, but we don't use that anymore. We
No,
just
just
say
say
Carpals.
Okay.
So we also, we have our legal aid hotline, but we also have 3 court-based advice desks, including the one I supervise, which is the Municipal Court Advice Desk. We also have, I think 3, I always have to check my little cheat sheet here. Important for this conversation, Carpals manages and staffs the Cook County Legal Aid for Housing and Debt hotline, which is the hotline that everybody, all consumer debt cases, residential eviction cases when they're first started, that is where they are first referred to, along with the summons when they're served with the initial court documents. So that's operated by Carpals as well. And we have 3 statewide legal aid programs as well. We have the New Leaf, Illinois. That has to do with helping clients try to clear their criminal records from marijuana convictions that in the 2019 law were now eligible for expungement. We also have our Armed Forces Legal Aid Network. And, am I missing, COVID Help Illinois and Eviction Help Illinois.
Oh, okay.
So we have a lot of things going on here.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And then the municipal office, that's located in the Daily Center, or?
The Municipal Court Advice Desk, so we shifted to operating on Zoom, our virtual help desk, when we were all operating remotely. So the help desk that I supervise, the Municipal Court Advice Desk, or MCAD, we are open Monday through Friday on Zoom. And we see people on a first come, first served basis. We help clients who have a municipal court case that has been transferred off the ERP call. So it's been transferred to the trial call, or it's a case that was never on the ERP call. We give legal advice, we review court documents, we prepare court documents as well in limited cases. We are also, as of May, when the Chief Judge ordered us to go back in person, we also have our help desk in person at the Daily Center in the Center for Self-Represented Litigants in room CL16 of the Daily Center. We are there Tuesday through Thursday from 9 to 5. We take our last client at 3:45.
Okay. And if you could you kind of touched on it, but what resources are available to pro se, self-represented litigants who cannot pay off their debts?
Well, I think a really important, I mean, the ERP program is crucial to giving people their legal advice, to approach the case holistically, right? And if some people, they didn't have an opportunity to participate in ERP at the municipal court advice desk, what we will do is we will look at the case from start to finish. We will look, and examine the case to determine whether or not our self-represented litigant clients have a legal defense in the case. And if they don't, then we're going to look at their entire financial condition, where they stand financially with regard to this debt and their ability to pay it. And we are going to give them some options about whether or not they want to settle it, what kind of settlement might be in their best interests. And we also, part of our advice may be, quite often what comes up is bankruptcy for certain of our clients. So that obviously is always a last resort, but that's always something that can be discussed. It's not something that we do at our municipal court advice desk, though.
And Legal Aid Chicago, do you run into those at Legal Aid when you represent clients, those type of situations? And I mean, other than the early resolution program, are there any other services for or any other organizations for self-represented litigants to help pay off their debts while their cases are pending?
Yeah, I can't think of many financial resources, but to touch on Kathleen's point, we do often evaluate for bankruptcy as well. Legal Aid Chicago, the consumer practice group, does do some bankruptcy cases, and we also refer to it as the option of last resort. But another really good resource that I can think of is Justice Corps. They help people navigate the online e-filing system, which can be very confusing for myself as an attorney who uses it regularly. So I can only imagine that it is very difficult for people who aren't used to using it. So having a dedicated hotline, a dedicated group that works to help people with that is huge.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
I would also say that what has been invaluable is now the Cook County online portal that we now have. And now, for the first time it's been going live for about a year, that attorneys can regularly look up cases online and get access to the court documents. That has really helped the services that we provide tremendously. And we can review the documents, whereas before we had to send our clients to the Daily Center, say, can you go get these court documents? And the two of you have been very helpful in trying to track down some documents that we can't locate, that aren't available yet online. But that has been invaluable as well.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Just so people out there know what we're talking about. And if attorneys are watching this and they're like, I have no idea what Kathleen's talking about, shame on you. Because we've been talking about this now for years. It's called, what Kathleen was talking about was what's commonly referred to as portal or CCC portal. Clerk of the Circuit Court, or basically Clerk of the Circuit Court Cook County portal. And what it is an online website for attorneys, Illinois licensed attorneys, who register to look up cases and get their documents from that website. If you're an attorney licensed in Illinois, you can register for this website. It's free, okay? So there's no harm in registering for the website. You just contact someone at the Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, and they will get you registered for the website. But it's a great resource, as Kathleen mentioned. And, before I started working for the Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, Iris Martinez, only got 5 minutes left. I, too, was an attorney and relied on CCC portal during that time of COVID to get my orders, and to look at cases. So Nice plug. Thank you, Kathleen, for bringing that up. And with that, I'd like to thank Kathleen and Ernie and Aimie for joining us today and giving out some information. The Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County provides the participants in the judicial system with efficient and transparent services. This program is a means to that end. Please take note that our pro se litigant office is located at 69 West, Washington, but it is important, any appointment you have to call first. So it is appointment only, and the number there is 872-529-1093. Again, for the pro se litigant office, it's appointment only. Please call and make an appointment. Again, thank you very much to our guests, Aimie Rucinski, Kathleen Callahan, and Ernie Gordon, today for their time and insights. I am sure our audience would agree this has been a time well spent. For more information about the various topics that we talked about today in the Civil Division, or if you got any other issues that you want to look up, please visit our website at www.cookcountyclerkofcourt.org, or you can call us at 312-603-5030 for more information. Thank you.